Forget the price for a moment. Wine and sugar. Since the launch of the Bitcoin white paper 15 years ago, the industry has hidden behind one giant excuse. Institutions can't use public ledgers because they aren't compliant. As of yesterday, February 4th, 2026, that excuse has been permanently deleted from the code. While the retail crowd is distracted by short-term volatility, a silent revolution just activated on the XRP ledger mainnet. The activation of XLS80 permission domains is not just an upgrade. It is the DNA of the new financial system. It is the reason David Schwartz admitted Ripple couldn't use the DEX at scale. Until now. And today, we aren't talking about if the institutions are coming. We are looking at the exact lines of code that just opened the door for their trillions. Let's address the elephant in the room. For years, critics have pointed to one major flaw in the XRP ledger ecosystem. If the public ledger is so efficient, why are institutions still building private ledgers? The answer was never about speed or cost. It was about control. Even David Schwartz, the mind behind the ledger, admitted a hard truth. Ripple itself could not use the public DEX for its massive payment flows. Why? Because on a public blockchain, you don't know who is on the other side of your trade. No bank can risk being the counterparty to a sanctioned entity or a terrorist organization. As of February 4th, 2026, that barrier has been officially demolished. The activation of the XLS80 Permissioned Domains Amendment on the mainnet marks the transition of the XRP ledger from a retail playground to an institutional powerhouse. This amendment introduces what we call credential-gated access. Think of it as a VIP lounge in the middle of a public stadium. The stadium, the XRPL, is open to everyone, but the VIP lounge, the permission domain, only opens its doors to those who hold a verified digital credential. Banks don't want to leave the public ledger. They want the liquidity of the public ledger without the risk of the public ledger. With XLS80, an institution can now create a domain where every participant, every buyer, and every seller has already passed a rigorous KYC and AML check on-chain. This allows for something we've speculated on for a decade: on-chain FX. Imagine $6.6 trillion in daily foreign exchange volume, moving away from the slow, opaque SWIFT rails and settling in seconds on the XRP ledger, but within a secure, permissioned environment that satisfies every regulator in Washington and Brussels. We saw the first permissions domain object appear on the ledger index 102,017,953 immediately after activation. This is the signal. This is the green light. When David Schwartz said we are close to changing how institutions move on-chain, he was referring to this exact moment. The code is now live. The compliance is now automated. And while the world watches the price, the smart money is watching the infrastructure. The blueprint is now becoming a reality. If the activation of XLS80 permission domains on February 4th was the key, then the next 13 days are when the engine officially starts. This is the holy grail for institutional liquidity. It enables credentialed order books. This means that for the first time, a bank can provide liquidity on the public ledger, but only interact with other verified KYC-compliant traders. This allows for on-chain FX at a scale we have never seen. Imagine the XRP ledger capturing institutional flows from B2B payments, corporate treasuries, and global payroll payouts. But there is a stop before we reach the DEX. On February 12, 2026, the token escrow XLS85 amendment goes live. Until now, you could only escrow native XRP. After February 12th, the ledger will support escrowing any issued asset, whether it's RLUSD, tokenized gold, or even real-world assets like NVIDIA shares on-chain. This is critical for secure, multi-step institutional transactions that require conditional settlements. We are also watching the XLS56 Batch Transactions Amendment. This allows institutions to bundle up to 8 transactions into one atomic package. Think of the efficiency, processing complex payroll or treasury movements in a single unbreakable batch. It reduces the risk of incomplete flows and makes the XRPL the most business-friendly blockchain in existence. The pieces of the puzzle, identity, domains, and DEX, are all falling into place this month. When you combine these, you don't just get a ledger, you get a global institutional operating system. When we talk about these amendments, the XLS80, the XLS81, and the institutional grade controls, we are talking about a new standard of trust. And just as the XRP ledger is evolving to provide institutional grade security, you as an investor need to evolve your own custody and tax strategy. This is why I am proud to be supported by iTrust Capital. I've been a supporter of iTrust for a long time because they solve the biggest headache for crypto holders: taxes. If you believe in the utility of XRP as a long-term financial backbone, then holding it within a tax-advantaged IRA is one of the most rational moves you can make. With iTrust Capital, you can buy, sell, and trade XRP 24/7 without triggering a taxable event on every trade. Whether it's a traditional, Roth, or SEP IRA, you're planning for your future, not just reacting to the present. But it's not just about XRP. iTrust gives you access to the gold standard of traditional assets as well. You can diversify into physical gold and silver right alongside your crypto holdings. And for those who want institutional grade protection without the IRA structure, their Premium Custody Account, PCA, provides a secure, closed-loop system designed for the serious investor. Because you are part of this rational community, there's a special incentive to get started. If you use my link in the description or the pinned comment and fund your account with at least $1,000, iTrust Capital will give you a $100 bonus. iTrust Capital. Think of it as an immediate 10% return on your initial deposit while you set up your long-term financial fortress. As we always say, we don't wait for the future, we plan for it. And having the right platform is the first step in that plan. Let's connect the dots. Why is the XRP ledger purpose-built for foreign exchange? Before joining Ripple, Reese Merrick spent over a decade in traditional FX payments for large enterprises. He described the nightmare of cross-border flows, getting calls from angry customers asking where their funds were, while all the bank could do was hope the payment cleared the correspondent bank rails. Traditional FX is slow, expensive, and opaque. This is where Evernorth, the largest public XRP treasury company led by Ashish Birla, enters the chat. Back in December, they confirmed their focus is shifting away from mere digital asset speculation and moving toward corporate treasury and on-chain FX. Evernorth isn't just holding XRP. They are building the infrastructure for corporate treasury management, where stablecoins, RLUSD, and XRP act as the bridge for multi-billion-dollar movements. Without XLS80, permissioned domains, and XLS81, permissioned DEX, this vision was impossible. But now, the full institutional stack is complete. Identity, verifiable credentials on-chain, domains, gated environments for banks, DEX, compliant liquidity pools for 24/7 FX swaps. Imagine a global corporation that needs to pay employees in 50 different countries. Here, Instead of waiting 3 to 5 days and paying massive fees, they can now use the permissioned DEX to swap their corporate treasury funds into local stablecoins and settle on-chain in seconds. No more traps capital. No more uncertainty. This is what David Schwartz meant when he said institutions are seeing the benefits of moving on-chain. The private ledger era was just a training phase. The public ledger is where the world's capital will live, and XRP is the powerhouse at the core of that stack. We have spent years talking about potential, but as of this week, the potential has been replaced by protocol. With XLS80 activated and the permissioned DEX just 13 days away, the XRP ledger has officially outgrown the world of retail speculation. It has become the global institutional stack. For the holders who have been questioned, for those who wondered why the volume wasn't there, you now have the answer. The banks weren't waiting for a higher price. They were waiting for these permissions. They were waiting for a way to use the public ledger without breaking the law. Now, that door is wide open. While the rest of the market is chasing the next meme or hype cycle, you are watching the plumbing of the global financial system being rebuilt on the XRP ledger. The bridge is finished, the compliance is automated, and the institutional floodgates are unlocked. Don't let the noise of the day distract you from the signal of the decade. Stay patient, stay rational. In a market driven by impulse and noise, clarity becomes an advantage. A simple reminder: speed creates mistakes, while calm evaluation creates strength. Thank you for the trust and for being part of a community that values logic over emotion. Patience is discipline. Rational thinking is protection. As always, the future isn't something to wait for, it's something to prepare for. Stay safe.